future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
I'll get you going. He is so sexy.
This was the sexiest song.
He had a
Wasn't
couple
it?
of them.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Here we are. Another edition of... Where's my applause? Come on. Thank you. Another edition of... Whoa, what's up with Kobylt and Friends? I just lost my pen there. I was just getting so excited just dancing to Prince. Welcome.
You're a good dancer.
Oh, you could tell just sitting here. I'm just doing
Absolutely.
this little. Oh, I love to dance. I've often
too.
told you, anytime you want to go out dancing, I'm your girl. I love to go dancing.
I take that very seriously.
No,
by
I
the
take
way.
it seriously too. But wait, I have to introduce myself and what we're doing. I'm Deborah Kobylt. Welcome to another edition of What's Up with Kobylt and Friends. A really, really fun show today, and I have a co-host, Cyrus Deboo. We need our applause for Cyrus.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Cyrus is an acclaimed actor, an actor who's up and coming, but he's appeared in some really cool stuff. You're in a Prego commercial, right?
Yep, I'm in a huge
Could you imagine?
Prego campaign right now.
I love Prego. And the fact that you're
Me
in
too.
Prego, it's like, oh my God, there's Cyrus. Wait a minute. Cyrus, that's wonderful. And you've been in How to Get Away with Murder, How I Met Your Mother, Bold and the Beautiful, Carts, Space Shuttle, Atlantis, the pre-show. You've been in all kinds of cool stuff.
I've done it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it
well,
all
look at
from-
you. You're very versatile, I have to say. I mean, Cyrus, you could be the businessman. You could be kind of the bad guy. You
Well,
could
thank
be,
you.
yeah, but I mean
Yeah.
like bad.
Yeah.
And then you could be the really handsome, guy. You can
Well,
be a
you
little
know,
bit of everything.
Part of your gig of being an actor is you say, jump. You want me to do this? I do that. So you kind of just learn to be a chameleon.
But not
you know?
everybody looks the part. You could almost just fit in anywhere. So,
I love you.
yeah, as you should.
I know.
As you should. But anyway, so you're here to talk a little bit about the business of acting and the business of how it's changing,
Yeah.
primarily television, with what's going on now with Netflix and Amazon. And we have another really amazing guy who's in studio with us today, Gregori Martin.
Hello.
Gregori is an Emmy award-winning producer and founder and CEO of Laney Entertainment. Correct? Is that how, am I saying that correctly?
You are.
And an amazing show, The Bay, the series. That is incredible, and it's just been picked up by Amazon Prime.
Yes, we're moving to Amazon Prime this summer.
That's incredible.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's huge.
That's like a huge step.
Major. That's
yeah.
like he's got parts for both of us in that. You do know, right? Am I right? You're writing me
She's
in.
also my agent as of now.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
No, I'm my own agent. You're writing me into something. Is this not correct? So, why else do you think he's here today? No,
I'll do
messing.
your deals.
All right, you got a deal. All right, and then here's our third guy who's in. This is going to be a good time, I think, right? We've got Aaron Kogan. Applause, please. Thank you. President and owner of AK Management. You manage all kinds of folks. You manage actors, writers, producers, esteemed talk show hosts, and the like, correct?
Directors, yes, musicians, and I started out in this business as an agent for about 10 years.
I have to say, I love how you started. You started a bunch of your friends, and who was that? That would be the number one beach volleyball player, Seth Rosenthal.
Sean Rosenthal.
Ooh,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
These were your friends? Was that
Yeah.
growing up in Hermosa Beach? Was that
That's-
right?
Yeah, and he was
how
out
I
there
got
playing
into
beach
it.
volleyball, and
I
he
love
started
that.
being his agent, getting him deals. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly
It's
right.
amazing. I needed a friend like you when I was a kid. I really did. I really, really did.
That's how I learned my love for agenting, and it came naturally, and I got to travel the world to the best beaches all over the world. It was amazing.
That is so incredible. I love that. I love that story. And then from there, you've blossomed and moved on, and I've got your own company that you just went off and established. So
just went off.
that's really terrific. So
Thank you.
everyone's going to chime in a little bit about all the changing that's going on in the business. And my question, I'm going to start with you, Gregori.
Okay.
Your show is pretty amazing. A show like that, though, even just a few years ago, the goal would be to maybe get it picked up by one of the networks, or by that I mean ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, and then perhaps HBO, Showtime. But there's so much else out there, and there's so many companies now, the Netflix and Amazon, but not just them, so many others, the Facebook, the Google. That's really incredible. They're looking for so much content now.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds,
Is it
and hundreds
almost
of channels.
Yeah. So what's it like when you're going out with a show like The Bay, and you get it out there, and then all of a sudden you get picked up by an Amazon? How does that work?
Well, I mean, it works all different ways. You know, with with us, we're making the move to Amazon. We actually chose to be part of Amazon because we had a couple of different options. But I think the Emmy helps. You know,
Certainly.
the show just won the Emmy last year for outstanding.
Do we have a clip of that?
Do we?
The Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Do you mind if we play a little bit of it? Because it's
It's
really
fantastic.
terrific. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, thank
Is
you.
Carolyn Hennessy in this clip? Do we have any idea?
Carolyn
She's amazing.
Hennessy
She's a friend of
hasn't
mine.
started shooting yet.
She did not.
Carolyn.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine. She also has a show here at UBM, which is really cool. And she's going to be on my show, I think, next week or the week after.
Oh,
Misty,
yeah,
my
she's-
producer, you could let me know. Text me.
Yeah, she starts shooting May 12th, I
Oh,
think.
she's incredible. I mean, she's amazing. Okay, let's go to the clip.
My name is Sarah Garrett, and I've lived in fear of this moment for 30 years. I've kept the details of my grandfather, Senator Red Garrett's death, a secret. Today, I've been arrested for his murder.
How do you feel about your wife's arrest for the murder of Senator Garrett? Do you believe she's guilty? Did she do it?
She's guilty.
My mother's not just gonna sit in jail waiting for her trial.
What you think you're doing, puta? The Garrett family assets are frozen.
It's not 15 minutes! So what you're saying is we have absolutely no access to the family fortune whatsoever.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
What are you talking about? Janice was raped. What are you talking about?
Did you sleep with my mother? Leanna, who are you to be judging Pete?
Stop! Stop!
Your mother has written an irrevocable trust in your name in the amount of $100 million. She will be released to you once you're married.
Peter, I know why you're doing it, and you don't need to do it. We'll find another way.
There is no other way, Mom.
I really think this could be your ticket out of here.
It looks as if history is about to repeat itself with you.
You need to stay far away from Janice.
I want to fight for you. I want to fight for us.
Oh, God, please. Your father, for Christ's sake. You need to tell me what happened. I never want you to be afraid.
I'm here to stop you from making the biggest mistake of your life.
This town belongs to the Garretts.
The terror occurs when the lights go out.
Hey!
Sarah can do no wrong.
You set her up so you can get your hands on our money!
That's fantastic.
That was amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Why
Awesome.
incredible stuff. You wrote this.
I write the show. Yes.
You write the show. What does it mean that you're now going to be on Amazon? You said you went for digital media. You didn't even bother with the mainstream. Why
You
did
don't let,
decide
you
to
didn't
do
even
that?
go to the networks, or you really just pursued
no, we
them?
actually
or?
did not go to the networks. No, we do have a distribution company, Associated Television, who they deal with all of our distribution, our television distribution, and so we are talking to a few television platforms now.
Right.
But
Why? Just because you see it, that's where it's going in the future?
I'm sorry. No,
That you decided to go, with an Amazon, with the more digital platform.
Oh, yeah. I think that the show is kind of fit for online. I think everything hot right now is online. Even the networks themselves are kind of creating their own web versions of their shows. And
Do you feel like
everyone's on the internet? So I think that's where, we have about 200,000 viewers per episode. Where they're, and that's, obviously there's a show like Young and the Restless or Bold and the Beautiful or one of these soaps that, these soaps that have, a million views a week or whatever it is. But I think I've heard of cable networks that have 20,000, 25,000 views per episode on shows. They're hot shows. So I think everyone's on the internet. I mean, not that I wouldn't want the show to go to it. I would never leave the internet, but not that I would ever, not want it.
All right, I have a whole bunch of questions about that. Any of you can chime in at any time. Aaron, this may be for you. A lot of shows are on the internet. How are they making money? Because everyone is blowing through ads, if there are ads. Right. I was wondering if it's going to get to the point where the ad is going to be sort of branded into the corner, whatever it may be.
Like in the show, like placement of things, you mean? Or just
that for sure. That's a whole different thing. But it's just sort of in the corner so that you could see it, sponsored by, because everyone's just blowing through it. So how are they making money? It's the same with radio. Right. People are just switching off. Nobody wants to hear it.
Well, from my opinion, all this great original content that's been coming out on the internet, they can, because it's so new, they can get the actors for a lot less money. And
even the well-known actors?
Even the well-known actors, yeah, because it's diluted the market. Every studio and network, every pilot season, each studio and network would make, throw down $4 million on a pilot that didn't even have a chance of getting picked up.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Now because of Amazon and Netflix and the algorithm that they have, the studios, the networks aren't shooting as many pilots. They need to figure out this algorithm that works. Netflix decides to shoot something, they pick it up for 9 episodes.
That's huge, but even as an actor, to get 9 episodes or to get, was that your experience also, that they bought, or they just, you got so many episodes? Because
we're redistributing the show, so we've already shot all the content. And so we're giving them the content.
That's great, because sometimes you do a pilot and it's, but it's canceled over after it premieres, or 1 or 2 episodes. But this is great if you can you have a chance to make an impact and to get known.
And nobody can really debate, if Jeff Bezos comes out and says Bay is the #1 show on Amazon Prime right now, how can you debate that? So
that's interesting.
You can come out and say that and then get that many more viewers.
All right, that's another question. There used to be the Nielsen ratings and all kinds of ratings, and I know my husband's on the radio, and he lives and dies by his ratings, not necessarily his social media, but his ratings, because as we all know, social media can be toyed with. You can really bump up your social media, and not one of those people are really listening or watching. So how do you really know who's listening and watching? And then how do you get that over to the advertisers?
Well, in my opinion, it's subscribers. You want the subscribers.
Got it. Okay, that's what matters.
And right now, YouTube stars are very hot, especially with the millennials.
What kind of stuff? What's a big one out there?
I can't name one off the top of my head. There's this guy that watches video games. His name's Pee Wee Man, and he just makes weird noises to a video game, and he has millions of followers. He was just on the Today Show.
How does a guy like that cut through? Some guy just sitting there, I don't know, in his basement, just watching video games.
Playing video games.
Yeah. People share it, I think.
Why him and not me, who's on there, watching something? I'm interesting. No, I'd like to know.
And the new thing is that's popping up all over the new thing that's popping up all over the place is multi-channel networks. These MCNs, which are Maker Studios, for example. They shot a pilot. They sold about a year ago to Disney for I think $800 million. They were a multi-channel network just on the internet.
Wow. Explain what that is, please.
It's basically a platform for YouTube stars to have their own network, basically. And that ups their subscribers, and they know exactly what site to go to get to them. And it's really interesting. But my guy that booked a pilot for Maker Studios, which just sold for $800 million, he got paid $125 a day for a lead on the pilot. And he should have been getting paid $25,000 at least for the episode. But
so what is that saying? Because
it's saying that there's so much content and it's so diluted, and they don't know. People just don't know yet. There's so much content, but not a lot of it is really all that good. Your stuff is really good.
It's good.
But there's so much, there's a lot of junk out there, right?
A lot of junk, yeah.
And how do you sift through it? How do you?
And I was looking at your cast. Was you have major stars?
Yeah, who's on
major daytime
we have
players? Emmy nominated.
Mary Beth Evans from Days of Our Lives, Ron Moss, who was on The Bold and the Beautiful for many years, Tristan Rogers from The Young and the Restless.
Scorpio.
General
Hospital.
Yes. Jackie Zeman from General Hospital.
Did you have how was it bringing them to this kind of a format, a new media format? Were they excited to do it? Or
they were very excited. I think it's great for daytime stars to kind of get outside the box because it's kind of like shooting in a box, when you're shooting on a soap opera set because, your exteriors are your interiors, where with the Bay we're on location and so everything kind of looks, I guess, prime time-ish.
I was reading one of the reviews of that. I think it was TV Guide was saying it was like prime time meets daytime.
Meets daytime.
It's very dramatic, but very suspenseful, and it's filmed, just from the clip.
It's very edgy. It's very different.
Edgy.
Thank you. Yeah.
How do you shoot this? I know it's on location, but it still has it has a quality to it. It still feels very different.
Oh, thank you.
This is your vision, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my background is in horror films. I directed a bunch of B horror films, and so I've added a little bit of that kind of undertone of like mystery.
Is that from? Can I ask you? Is that from like camera angles that you choose or scenes? Or
it has to do with the cinematography. It has
lighting.
to do with the music, the lighting.
And I feel like
I was in a
rhythm.
horror. By the way, I was in a horror film. The Wes Craven New Nightmares. So.
Oh yeah.
And
we have Heather Langenkamp actually.
I feel
Heather
like
Langenkamp. Heather Langenkamp is actually on the Bay.
Oh really?
Yes, she plays the warden.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Neat.
I feel like the whole new media is a little edgier. Has an edgier reputation. Do you feel that way? Like,
yeah, but
it's
I also
the Wild
think
West.
It's the Wild. What a great way to put it.
Maybe they take more chances.
It's the Wild West, but you can also incorporate a little of what's worked. Let's look at a show like Modern Family, for example. And anyone here know Steve Levitan? I know him. Do you know him? Okay. I mean, I know he's looking to go out of the box and do something a little different, or even the old sitcoms where people were in the background laughing. Where they're shooting them live. I mean, there are ways to incorporate all that worked, but into something that's more interesting and edgy, don't you think? And also, I would say, if you're an actor, don't you feel like maybe you have more of an opportunity to get yourself out there and be seen?
Yeah, and even like promote yourself too.
But from a representative's standpoint, they're getting their time is being taken up if they have to work for 2 weeks for $100 a day.
Yeah.
When there's a guest star that they make $8,000 on, that they could easily get, it's six half
that's a
dozen
no-brainer
to the other. I mean, I'll give you a story. When I first started agenting Hilary Swank, Boys Don't Cry.
Right.
She used to come in. Excuse me.
Okay.
She used to come into the office dressed like that character.
It's okay.
The script wasn't finished yet, and it was at that time ultra low budget was $75 a day. But
really,
yeah,
are you kidding?
But it was such a good script. It was such a powerful piece that she fought for it, and look at what it did for her. So you do look at you look at everything, but you have to. It's also a business, so you have to look at it from a business standpoint as well. What's going to be best for your client is how I look at it.
But that is important, though, to look at the quality of the work because I know. I don't know. What would you do in a case like that? Would you go for the money or would you go for the quality of the work? I
think I would take a gig where I could get a whole bunch of episodes. If it like at this point in new media, where like shows like The Bay are on Amazon Prime, I would want to get in on that because I feel like they have a younger audience.
I agree.
It's edgier.
Not just younger. The girl who was doing my hair today, she's like, and she's 30. And she's like, my parents are watching now. They're streaming and they're doing this. Yeah. I'm like, they are? Good for them. Because a lot of people think it's just like a bunch of, millennials or younger. I think not. I think there's a whole pile of people out there, even retired people who really don't know what to do with themselves.
I think it's really changed over the last
I think it's changed.
few years.
We have audiences of all ages on our show. We have, I get it all the time. Somebody coming to me, and our show's only a couple years old, a few years old. Well, now it's, we only have 2 seasons, but it's only been around for a few years, and I have people coming to me saying, my mother loves your show.
I think that's really important. I think it's kind of boring, actually, and staid to just like always go for, the under 30. Because everyone's kind of cool and edgy and knows what's going on a little bit at all ages. I have friends who are 70 who are in the movie business, Star Wars, the big guy in Star Wars, and probably the most highest paid actor in the world, Star Wars. So we know who I'm talking about, close friend. he's an edgy guy. He knows what's going on, but he's in his 70s. I mean, we shouldn't dismiss older people, I guess is what I'm saying. Do you agree?
Absolutely, especially with the baby boom generation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you guys, you know, are the ones that are a top market now these days, not just the 18 to 20.
They're a bigger market than people 18 to 24 or 34. Is that what you're saying?
I would imagine.
It's about
Baby
it's about the same. It's about
well,
the
they
same.
have more money to spend. I know. Again, with John, you know, my husband with radio, same thing. They like the younger demographic, but they're going after the baby boomers because they have more money than the younger people do.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Though I do have to say, you know, that it's so important to understand the how social media works, and I find it with some of my cast that have been around for a while. They have no clue how to tweet, or you know, sometimes, and it's like no, you need to know this. Today, it's something that's extremely, extremely important.
But it has to be real, don't you think?
I was just thinking that.
It's got to be real. I have to tell you,
real.
everyone I know is buying their followers, and it's got to be real stuff, and they're buying a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
no, I mean just being able to understand how it works, how to how to retweet something, how to write, how to send a message. You know, those are things that
I get the same thing with my actors who are a little bit older before the the
they don't know what to do, or they're too busy to do it.
Well, but it's a necessary thing.
It's necessary. It's
you
very
need to do
necessary.
it these days.
Or there's an industry for you right there. People who do it for you, because you need somebody who's got to go off and do it for you. You know, in your voice too. I mean, not everybody even has the time to do it. They're like, oh man, I forgot. But you're right. It's got to be top of your head.
And maybe not just only about you. It has to be about your lifestyle, things that interest you. You know what I mean? Because there's a certain amount of self-promotion that just gets so people get tired of.
Boring.
But, boring. So,
And I can give you an example. I represent a YouTube star, and
who can we say?
No, I would rather not say right now.
It's okay.
But they'll pay her to take pictures of herself on Instagram. They'll give her a couple grand to wear X makeup or X necklace or this or that. So there's also, if you have enough followers or subscribers.
I have a lot of friends who are doing that, and they're getting like stuff from, I don't know, Lululemon. It's like if they wear it and they post it, and they're not even
wearing it. They like it.
And they're not even actors or actresses. They're just sort of out there, and they have a certain number of followers, and they're getting paid for it. So I don't know. I see it as a whole major out in college, like how to promote yourself.
Oh, there's new companies popping up all over the place just for social media people that they want, they take pictures with certain products, and then the advertisers say, yes, we want to use them or not. And
our show is all financed through sponsorship, product placement.
So it's product placement.
Yeah.
So how much product placement do you have on the show? And let me tell you, product placement is so obvious. It's like, there's the box of detergent. Not where it belongs with the washer dryer, but right there in your bathroom.
Did we see any in that clip?
Wait, everyone's driving a VW.
Exactly.
No, really.
Exactly.
I thought it was... I missed it. I must have missed it.
And I try to avoid that. So, there are times where you'll see something and say, wait, okay, that's product placement. But we try to do it kind of...
Yes, without a doubt. It's just very understated, like he would say. Yeah. Someone's driving a VW down the street. But that's product placement right there.
Totally,
I'm someone who takes notice of stuff like that. Do you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I always know. And whenever I'm watching a movie, as soon as I see a product, I'm like, product placement.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, were you a fan of daytime television growing up?
Yes,
I know I was. It was like a huge deal. Like to be off during the summers, I would watch that.
Did you watch
No,
daytime?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
You were on that. I didn't either, I have to say. I did not either, because I didn't get it. I look at it and say,
daytime financed prime time.
Yeah.
Daytime is what brought the money into prime time.
And meeting Gregori, I want my people on his show. So.
And the thing is that we're not a daytime show, even though we're categorized as daytime because of the time that it airs.
And your actors.
You're not.
And the actors
was
are
that
daytime
part of your
stars.
marketing?
It
was
brilliant. It was, and actually it was needed. It was necessary because there's a huge audience out there that are crying to see their favorite daytime stars.
And very loyal, I would imagine.
And extremely loyal. There's a huge fan base.
I feel like I know those people. Like when I saw Robert Scorpio, I was just oh my gosh, it's
there
like his
he
real
is.
name. I mean, but you feel this affinity towards them. So that's really interesting that you chose that.
Yeah, totally.
But it's different. I love this. I mean, it's very cutting edge with you getting out there with this. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and what I was actually going to say is that it's anytime because it's the internet. So there is no daytime or prime time or anything. You know.
How about this whole thing? Now, do you think of like this whole thing of binge watching? Do you do that? Like
I do not have time. I wish I had time.
Well, I get totally.
I'll tell you. You know, I was going to bring this up earlier when we were talking about the baby boomers and the older generations watching Amazon Prime and Netflix. I just went and house sat for somebody for a week, and they didn't even have cable anymore. All they had was Amazon Prime, HBO Go.
Love that.
All of that stuff.
I was talking to John today. I said, I'm done with this cable. I want HBO Go and the Amazon. Yeah.
And so I just binged watch. I hadn't seen the making of How to Make a Murderer,
Making a Murderer.
And so I binged watched that, and I binged watched a couple other shows. But I'm not a huge binge watcher, but it's easy to get sucked in when you don't have cable and you can't channel.
Well, I wonder.
Sorry. All right,
when you structure the show, I'm so sorry.
No, just go.
I'm so curious because do you remember how you used to have those cliffhangers?
Yeah.
And so
they piss me off.
And you'd have to wait a week or so long at the end of the season. But now it's like the end of the episode, and I've done it so many times. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch one more. I'm so tired. But it's 1:30 in the morning.
Interesting. I think our show is better to watch when you binge watch because we do have cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what the experience is going to be because we've never released episodes all at once. We've always done it every week, but we're going to do the binge watch thing with Amazon.
A couple of
they're
things.
all going to be released at once.
A lot of people think, with the changes going on in television, people aren't going to sit around every week and wait for their programming, or even, they've recorded it and just get together in front of the TV. I think it makes it more interesting because you still will get in front of a television. You just binge watch it now. You don't have to. I actually think it brings people together even more so, don't you?
To binge watch?
Just to have it out there, have your whatever program is out there when you want it. A lot of people have criticized and said, they're just going to watch it alone. It's more of a solitary thing.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I didn't find that at all. I had nieces and nephews visiting last week, and we sat and binge watched the Real O'Neills and so many shows that we just got to, like in Modern Family, watch them all together. So it was fun.
I think the show Friends is more popular today than it has been in 10 years because of it being on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Or
I have a 14-year-old kid, and he's always in his room watching Friends as he's doing his homework.
Is he really?
14. Okay, loves that show. It's so funny. All of my kids loved Friends, and he's my younger one, and he'll sit there and watch it. That show will just never go away because it just transcends. It really does. I love it. So, okay, for actors, is there more opportunity? I know the money's not as great, perhaps.
It's difficult right now. Annually, it's the slowest time of year. We're just wrapping up with pilot season, and like I said earlier, there's a shift happening in this business. We don't really know where it's going. I don't think the studios or the networks really know where it's going, and they're having to follow the lead of Amazon
Apple
and Netflix, and because they have this algorithm.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it used to be the studios and networks would throw down $5 million, shoot a pilot that they knew wasn't even going to get picked up. Now they're not doing that. But what I think is going to happen is they're going to be adding more series regulars. I think that when they decide to go with a pilot, it has much more of a chance of getting picked up to a series instead of them wasting money on shooting 20, 30 pilots. It used to be everyone would book a pilot, basically. Mm-hmm. This year it was very, very scarce. It was, and I don't know. I don't know what the studios are going to do to follow that, but I think it will even out in the end. We're just in a difficult time now.
I read about what Apple was doing over in Sundance. Did you read about this? They had their little iTunes lounge, and they were inviting directors and producers and writers in. And they were very quietly meeting with them. There was no red carpet, no banner to stand behind. They just wanted to go for the content and the talent, and they are in it. They're in it to win, and they've got the money to do it. They've got the cash in their pocket, so they're really changing the game. And I know it's been Netflix and Amazon, but Apple's coming in, and they're really going to clean it up. So.
And look, the studios and networks have been doing it the same way for how many years now? So,
but with a lot of extra money, as you said.
With a lot of extra money, yes, exactly.
And then for stuff that was never even picked up, and they'd put millions of dollars into something that nobody even thought would go anywhere.
Right.
This seems like a more efficient way to do something, right? Yeah.
It definitely is for them.
Smarter, yeah.
It definitely is for the studios and the networks, but for a rep like myself, there's a lot less pilots out there that have a chance of getting picked up. So it's 6.5 dozen to the other, but. Like I said, I think I think that those series are going to add more series regulars or recast. I think it will even out at the end of the day.
It's kind of amazing to see like Kevin Spacey on, House of Cards and so many.
All right, who's been watching that religiously? Anybody here?
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
It's brilliant.
And that wasn't a pilot. That was hey, we're picking this up.
Yeah. And let me ask you this.
I like that. I feel like there's less control by the big guys. That's how I feel. And if a product is a quality product, it's just going to get out there, and if the people like it, it's going to sell itself.
And
right?
it's like creative,
totally.
and like I think that's why maybe a lot of these actors are drawn to it, and the audience too. I mean, who would have
Smart.
thought that someone who won an Academy Award would be doing a series on that? And I'm so curious. Like, have you found that like people from the studios have gone over to like Amazon or these other companies? Do they recruit from that? Okay.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes.
I mean, it's kind of shaking up the whole industry. It's
like even the lawyers.
And what about casting? Because I know
casting. Donna Rosenstein, who cast Castle forever, she just went over and she's now the head casting director over at Amazon.
And did they take that on easily, or how were they? I mean, was it like a hard thing? Because I remember first hearing about web series, and I thought. There's no way I would ever.
It.
Oh, really? I thought there was no way I would ever do that.
No, you can't.
And now I would really want to. So I'm just so curious because you're very chummy with, and Aaron's known casting people for years.
Yes.
So I'm so curious, like what they said and how it's evolved over time.
I think that they don't really know either.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically everyone's just evolving with the times.
So then, what determines it? If it becomes popular, basically, is it sort of public appeal?
Yes.
Public. It's like going to court. Whatever. Right? I mean, wouldn't you say?
If the Bay goes up from 200,000 to 1 million when they start airing on Amazon Prime, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, subscribers. That says everything.
Yes.
So what's going to happen to the networks per se as these become more popular? I mean,
that's the question.
You said that they're also developing their own web
content.
content.
They're going to compete.
They just have to adapt to that.
But are they as smart? Are they as edgy and as smart? Because organically, these companies are coming up, and I love that. How they come up on their own. They want to do it their own way. They don't want to do it the way the networks. I was reading that Apple, with the cash that it has, that it could pick up Netflix, it could pick up HBO, it could pick up Warner Brothers just with cash alone. And they're like, we don't want them. Wow. We want to do our own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's really cool.
I think some of the sitcoms that are out now are much edgier, like The Real O'Neills. I was just watching that, and I was a little bit shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I just sat down with two heads of huge production companies that can greenlight pilots, and they both are looking for super edgy, cable, different kind of stuff. They just picked up John Singleton's pilot Snowfall for FX, which is about Coke and the 80s, and it's a really different, edgy, script project. But the two executives who were the heads of the 1 hour scripted that I sat down with both said they want edgy, different, because
everything else has been so canned. Example, if you look at, remember Everybody Loves Raymond, everybody loved that show. It was fun. But that there was a whole undertone there of what was really going on behind that crazy Italian family. I know because I come from one. So I'm thinking it's all fun to show the meatballs flying, but what was really happening that was really chaotic and crazy? It's almost like now the doors are open for those stories. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I mean, I'd like to hear more about this whole Everybody Loves Raymond, because what was the undertone that I...
Well, it was a charming way of looking at a bit of a crazy dysfunctional family. But now I feel like
People
can really
like
what was really going on. And I don't mean cruel, but whatever was really going on in the family.
Maybe the
what was
undertones,
Doris?
did they not like each other?
What was Doris really like? Was she insane and bipolar and drove everybody crazy, or was she just?
So.
Do you get my point?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like it'll open the doors to really almost telling someone's truth more so, right?
Right. Yeah.
No?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, it's sad, but yes. It's
no,
it's
but in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, you want to hear a little more about what's going on in people's lives as opposed to just the surface.
And I'm
Do you
thinking,
know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking.
Yeah, there was
comedy.
just an article on it actually. I'm surprised that you brought up Everybody
About,
Loves Raymond.
well, because she just died. She was in. You know, I was just thinking of her.
But there was just an article about what you are exactly talking about, and you know, people just don't know. You know, I mean, we all have to evolve with the business. Gregori has to. I have to. Cyrus has to. We have to evolve with the business as it evolves. The studios and networks have had the same model for so long.
Boring to me. That's why I don't watch TV. When people said, "Do you ever watch?" I'm like, no. There's really nothing on there I'm interested in. Now there is,
and they're going to have to change. They're changing those models, you know. But how are they going to change them? How long is it going to take? Are they going to be able to get these algorithms that the Amazon Primes and the Netflix has? So you know, we just have to keep evolving with the times.
You know, it's a show that I love. That's on the network. How to Get Away with Murder. I think that is so smart. Such a smart show, a sharp show, and I'm almost surprised that it's on the network because it almost feels like it belongs as a series on an Amazon or a Netflix.
Well, it's Shonda Rhimes.
Exactly.
You know,
She's brilliant.
That's ABC, to give you an example of pilot season and, you know, comparatively to Amazon Prime or Netflix, ABC renewed all of their shows. So they didn't have to shoot any pilots, or they didn't have to shoot many pilots at all because they knew they were successful. So they just renewed everything.
Some of the creators were very interested in talking to some other folks. So I think if they didn't pick them up, they knew they were just going to walk across the street and go somewhere else.
Like the Mindy Project, right? The Mindy Project went to Hulu.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think Steve Levitan, you know, with Modern Family, I know people have talked with him. I mean, there's a lot of interest in grabbing these folks and bringing them somewhere else. And if the network loses their powerhouse, forget it.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. I think I was reading about Mad Men was that the writer had taken that show to everybody, and as AMC was just starting out, and they took a chance on it. Yeah. And it was edgy. It was very edgy at the time. It was, you know, I guess you could call it a period piece. And look what happened to that.
So what's next for you? How does this change things that are going on with you?
It just gives you more avenues to go out on.
Do you have more auditions that you're going out on?
Yeah, I have a lot more genres, and I just did a scene in a pilot with Minnie Driver, you know, for a new pilot called Speechless.
Oh, I love that. Tell me more.
We'll see where that goes. And I have to tell you, it's such a great. It's a sitcom about families and their situations. There's a child with special needs. And I was talking.
See, I love that. Ordinarily, you might not have seen that, you know, or it would be contrived.
Well, and it's all the reactions of the child with special needs is actually that we might call the normal one, the straight guy, and it's everybody else's uncomfortability or the situations that that happen with it.
So that's the kind of stuff I want to see. I'm so not interested in seeing any more Brady Bunch stuff.
So, it was so much fun, and it just enlightening.
Yeah,
enlightening. I mean, content is obviously. I mean, we're doing a lot for these new episodes of The Bay. They're kind of very character driven, and we're kind of pulling on the heartstrings and things like that.
And you have to be able to approach new taboo subjects. You know what I mean? And like situations.
That's what helps to change things
absolutely
in the world. I really believe that.
Yeah.
If you start to introduce something that's important socially, it'll catch on. So it's a perfect genre to do something like that. That's where your writing is so important.
Right.
Do you remember? Was it the Jeffersons? Where I'm trying to remember. Where was it? It was on some show I was growing up. It wasn't the Jefferson, but it was interracial couple was a really big deal. And then what show was that? I can't remember. Well, obviously, it wasn't the Jefferson.
They actually had one on there, like that tall, sort of goofy white guy.
Yeah, but look, and introducing things, and like Billy Crystal on Soap, and look how far we've come.
I mean, even if you look at a show like Al Bundy's, the old Al Bundy show. I mean, that was chauvinistic. It was racist. It was all sorts of bad things to the public that I don't think it would make on the air this time.
And gay couples now. I mean, that's becoming way more standard.
Huge.
And
you don't
that's
even blink an
so
eye.
important.
Yeah, I like what you said about that. Like we should be able to laugh about it and have it out.
Or it just should be hopefully the norm for people.
Norm.
And
that was a show, right? The New Normal. For a while about the
yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. It was a sitcom. It's funny you said that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
These things just need to be more common. So remember that as you're writing your stuff. Okay. So you're doing The Bay, the series, and you're working on a film as well, right? Are you currently working on I read, what's it called? The Place Called Hollywood?
A Place Called Hollywood is my latest film. Yeah, we haven't finished. We're in post-production. It's been shot.
Tell
me
me
in the
about
final
that.
stages. It's a satire on Hollywood and all the crazy things that happen in this town. It's about a young guy who moves from Oklahoma to become a movie star. It's very loosely based on Brad Pitt's move, and I say loosely because it is very loosely based on it. So if Brad Pitt ever sees this, we're not taking your story.
Did you make the guy a brunette at least? I mean,
he's brunette. Yeah, he's got dark hair. Christos Andrews plays the part, who's also the lead on The Bay. But it's just a satire on Hollywood and all the crazy things that happen in this town. And we'll probably have a premiere sometime this summer.
And are still happening in this town. I mean, there may be more avenues and more places for people to go and try and act, but just getting there is such a confusing thing, right? Which is where you come in. Somebody like you helps to manage people.
Yes.
But even that's confusing. How do you even know what to do what you do? Where to place people?
Over time, you learn, obviously. Yeah. I also studied it in college, but, because I was an agent for so long, I have such great relationships with casting directors that they'll pick up the phone and I can pitch just like an agent. And, I have someone in New Orleans shooting NCIS New Orleans right now. I have someone finishing up the last 6 episodes of The Last Ship on TNT as, the main lead guest. I have Heather McComb, who started shooting a indie film yesterday. I'm working on a negotiation for David Chokichi right now. And then I have Deborah Wilson from Mad TV. Mad TV just got ordered 8 episodes. It's going to be a new cast, but they're going to bring the old cast members like Deborah to host the shows and use their clips.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, isn't it cool? They did a 20th anniversary reunion show on the CW, and it got such high ratings that then they ordered a new series.
Oh, that's terrific.
That's another one of those edgy shows that was kind of before its time a little bit, wasn't it?
Yes. No, someone who's sort of an ordinary person and they have an idea. They've written a treatment or they don't even know how to write a treatment. How do they get that out there and who do they send something like that to? That's got to be confusing.
That's a good question.
For me, it's all referral only. I get log lines all day long emailed to me. I don't think I've ever picked up one of those scripts. It's, sometimes I'll ask my assistant to read it if I think the log line's really cool. Otherwise, I read it myself, if I get it from a lit agent and they say, hey, let's go out with this, or if I get it from a client. And the next process is we go in and we practice pitching it. So before we go in and set up meetings with executives and, networks and studios, we have our pitch down so that we're completely prepared for when the executives have questions and whatever may come up.
Do most people have a script actually already thought out, or is it mostly a treatment? Because there's got to be so much content you need. I can't even imagine.
I feel like everybody has a script.
I guess
to happen,
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's different, but I think that there's definitely. It's good to have a script ready. Mm-hmm.
What was your experience with The Bay?
The Bay was based off of a Bible that I created since I was a kid. So it was something that I built over years and years and years. And then I went on to do my films. I became friends with Tristan Rogers, Scorpio. And he kept telling me, you have to produce a web series. It's a television of the future. And I just never took it serious until I found out that there's actually a category at the Emmys for it. So I said, okay, maybe I should take a look at this. And so
exactly.
I legitimized it a little bit.
And so I actually created The Bay based off of an old Bible of a story that I had as a kid, and I just kind of dusted it off and said, okay, let's bring this to life.
And about how many years was that you? I was also fascinated how many years sometimes it takes a series or a film.
Well, from your brain to actually get it out there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess as a child, I always kind of had this idea of like producing my own show. But I was never kind of like professionally pursuing it. I just it was just a hobby of mine as a kid, And then in I think it was he had mentioned it for several years to me because he always did like kind of small cameos in my films, and because I directed a bunch of horror films, and then I think it was in January when I decided to do it, to produce it, and then we shot the first few episodes that summer. So.
Do you do it sort of Woody Allen style, which is, hardly any retakes, you just sort of get in there and do it? Or are you very particular as a director?
No, I think that the average is about 3 or 4 takes
Mm-hmm.
per scene.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Gregori, just to the listeners out there, can you kind of explain? I think you might be able to do a better job of it than I. When Gregori is talking about a Bible, he doesn't mean the Holy Bible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think most people figured that out. I hope so. Otherwise, you're going to be doing a whole anthology on Jesus, right? You're going to go like Jesus is walking. It's like, oh my goodness.
A Bible is important to have even when you're going to go in and pitch something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to know your story.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So
what's next for you? So you're doing the Bay.
Yeah, so we're going
doing
to
the
shoot.
film.
Yeah.
You've got to have all these ideas in your head for other stories, right? Other shows.
No, I mean I do, but I don't pursue them. And I'm a writer, and I can write. I mean, if I'm told to go in a room and write I'll just go in a room and I'll create whatever I need to create. So I mean, I'll do that when I have to. But right now, my main focus is the Bay. We're shooting the next few episodes for the Bay. I'm also a co-EP and director on a sitcom. We shot the first season called This Just In. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this yet, but I won't say any more about it.
I would say stop now.
Yeah,
well, where can we see it? Where will we eventually be able to see it?
It's actually being pitched to different channels.
You've got a ton of things on the horizon. That's fantastic.
Thanks. So we shot the first season, and then this summer we're picking up on a miniseries that I did.
He's very modest.
And the miniseries, we shot the promo for it, and then it was picked up, and so we're going to shoot this show overseas this summer. So.
Congratulations! I think that's.
I'd love to be able to come on set one day and sort of watch what you do. Can I do that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we're shooting. Our first day back is May 11th.
Deb, let's go together when he casts one of my clients on the show.
Yeah, we can do that too. So what's the casting process like, by the way? So you've written this thing.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there in a room and...
Yeah, I usually don't hold auditions.
You don't?
Most of the actors on the show are actors that I'm either friends with or I knew their work. But we do, every once in a while, I'll create a character. Like I have this new character in the script that I have no idea who I'm going to cast. But usually when I'm writing, I have an actor in mind, and I'll approach them before I start writing and say, hey, would you like to do this? And then I'll tell them the idea, and they say, okay, yeah, sure.
Do you have to go in, Cyrus, and read quite a bit? Because, I mean,
tons of things.
Yeah, I mean, you're out there, but you're not, And
sometimes I feel like, like the director is maybe very specific on what they want, and sometimes you feel like they don't know what they want, and so sometimes it's hard. Well, should I just kind of go with my instinct?
Do they tell you? Does your agent tell you, or do you just go in there?
They tell you so much, but you also have to try to trust your gut. That's what I feel like. Right. And
what do you tell your people?
It depends on the casting director.
Yeah, which I mean,
which I know.
Guys,
so if it's someone that's warm and welcoming, I always tell them to do the Superman pose. There's on the TED website. On the TED website, there's a great Dr. Amy Cuddy. She's a professor at Harvard.
So let me do the Superman pose. What's that? Like this? For girls too? Good God.
Stick your chest out, and it just gives you a little bit of confidence. You hold it for 30 seconds. You walk in the room. You want to go in there, and those people want to think that they're going to be lucky to have you. Gregori wants to say, "Oh my gosh, we're going to be lucky to have Deborah on our show." Not, she gave a good read. She was pretty good. It's more, we want her part of the family, because it really is a family.
That's cool. What else do you tell people?
Some casting directors don't shake hands, so I'll say do not go to shake their hand, because it'll start. Wow,
so you are really valuable. You are so valuable, because if somebody wouldn't know that, and you go like this, and then it's awkward,
and it's ruined.
Yeah, you've ruined it right there.
Yeah, though I think when I have my auditions, when I hold auditions.
You're okay shaking hands.
I'm okay. I'm actually okay with it, and I always find it weird for me when an actor walks into the room and they're just kind of like
Oh God, how do I read them? Because it should be more about the work. I feel like instead of that casting director, sort of lording over the person, it should be more about the work, as you're saying.
No. I actually do agree with the whole family thing, and the Bay, as well, somebody that's behind the camera knows, is a family, and we party together, and we hang out, and we have dinners together.
That is so important.
I was just going to say, like, who you invite into that, and
absolutely,
the whole, like, everybody getting along, and especially if the show's on for years, I would imagine you get so attached to your coworkers.
That would be the hardest. They're your family. You probably like them better than your real family.
Yeah. So a lot of times, an actor will come into a room, and I hold maybe 2 auditions a year. I don't really do it all the time, and so they'll come into a room and they won't. I mean, I'm sitting here and they're kind of like all the way. They walk in and they're like 100 feet away from me and they're, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, you can come closer. You can talk to me. And I think that's important for me.
I couldn't agree with you more. Confidence, is
Superman pose.
Yeah, that's why I say do the Superman pose, because it just shows that they know, and they're showing the showrunner and creator that they can really rock the part.
Yeah, but one thing that's very important for me as a director, as a writer, as an EP, is make sure that you know the difference between confidence and arrogance.
Yes, absolutely. I always tell them that.
There are times where I have actors walk into the room and they're the most, as soon as they walk in, they're so arrogant. I'm like, should we end this before we start?
Right.
So it's
you're not part of the family.
I couldn't do that either. So this has been very, very interesting. I mean, where do you see things going? I mean, just... I guess it's just going to keep moving in this direction.
Unfolding and creating and evolving.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the internet is the television of the future. As far as the Bay goes, we're shooting 6 more episodes this summer, and then we're planning out our next season. But I think, I've even heard like one of the network shows, soaps, actually, we're released something saying that, if for some reason one of the networks doesn't pick them up, they're moving to the web.
Oh yes, I think a couple of them have said that actually.
Yeah, but then they're saying that because the networks are going to run and scramble and pick them up, wouldn't you say? I mean, they don't want to start losing popular shows and content like that. Don't you agree?
They don't. Of course, but if they can replace it with something that they think is better, then.
Or that makes more money, or like a reality show, maybe,
or like The View instead of The Bold and the Beautiful, which is not on air anymore. It's on the web.
Wait, do I have a quick second? I know that we have to go because we don't have that much time. But just getting back really quickly to advertising, because people are blowing through commercials. You do product placement. How are you going to make a lot of money? Not just you, but a lot of these shows. If people are blowing through commercials, and I know there's subscriptions, but still, people want to be able to sell their product. What do you think?
Well, I guess it's all depending on how many viewers you have. It's all done through. You receive a certain, 5 cents per view or something, whatever it is. And so if you have hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views, then you're going to make your money through the ad dollars. Mm-hmm. So.
Right, and through social media, I guess, people writing about it, posting about it, right?
Sports teams these days, they are now making deals like, the big soccer teams in Europe, they're on their shirt is their sponsor.
Right.
So
you're going to be wearing it on your forehead, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, like remember, like people started driving around the cars with like ads on them, and that's how they got. It's like the same thing. Like no matter what you're wearing, you're walking advertisement on the heels of your shoes. Okay, this has been kind of interesting. Thanks, you guys. This is fun.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, and another really, really fun edition of What's Up with Kobylt and Friends. See you next week.